Tactical officer, Zuraeth had seen exactly 3 human beings in her life before Thomas Gray, and all of them had been at diplomatic functions where they smiled too much and seemed fascinated by everything. Her long ears could pick up their elevated heart rates from across crowded rooms, the way their pulses jumped when larger species moved too quickly nearby. The consensus among the Anari was that humans were nervous creatures, physically unremarkable but friendly enough. Useful for trade, irrelevant for anything serious. The stranded transport ship they found in Sector 793 fit every expectation perfectly. It was old, patched with mismatched hull plates, and broadcasting a distress signal that apologized for the inconvenience. When Thomas emerged from the airlock, he was exactly what Zira anticipated: average height, slim build, wearing coveralls that had seen better years. His hands shook slightly when her security team's weapons tracked him, and his smile was nervous but hopeful. "Engine failure," he explained, running those shaking hands through his hair. "Navigation's shot too. I've got some repair skills, but nothing for a cascade failure like this. I don't suppose you folks have a plasma regulator I could borrow." Captain Velsoon, her superior, found the human's obvious anxiety endearing. "We can provide supplies. What were you doing out here alone?" "Independent trading. Minerals mostly. There's an asteroid field about 8 hours from here, rich deposits, barely charted. I was heading there when my systems went critical." Thomas pulled up coordinates on a battered datapad. "I could guide you there. As payment for the regulator and maybe some rations. I'm tired of eating recycled protein paste." Zira's ears twitched as she caught his elevated heart rate, the way his eyes kept darting to exits and weapons. Fear responses, obviously. The human was trying to stay calm and failing. Her captain agreed to the arrangement, and Thomas was given guest quarters under light supervision. Throughout the journey, Zira watched him jump at sudden sounds and apologize for being in the way. Her crew made gentle jokes about the nervous human who said sorry every 15 minutes. Only once did something feel wrong. Zira caught Thomas staring at their tactical display, his eyes tracking their formation patterns, weapon placements, crew rotations. When she cleared her throat, he jumped and stammered an apology about being curious. His hands shook. His heart rate spiked. Everything screamed fear, so Zira dismissed her instinct and filed it as paranoia from a civilian unused to military vessels. The asteroid field appeared exactly where Thomas said it would. The pale meridian moved into formation, scanners active, and Thomas stood on the bridge wearing that same nervous smile. Then 60 human ships powered up from inside the hollow asteroids, and Thomas stopped shaking entirely. The transformation happened so fast that Zira's brain struggled to process it. One moment Thomas was the nervous trader, apologizing as he checked a readout. The next, his posture shifted, weight balanced, eyes sharp, that stammering fear gone like someone had flipped a switch. When he smiled now, it was a completely different expression. Colder, calculated, satisfied. "Engineering team, cargo hold, and auxiliary bridge," Thomas said into a comm device he definitely hadn't been carrying a second ago. "Medical bay is 2 decks down, armory is sealed but has predictable access codes. Captain Velsoon carries override keys on his left hip. Tactical officer?" His eyes found Zira is dangerous. "Mark her primary target." Boarding pods hammered into the hull. Alarms shrieked. Zira drew her plasma rifle and moved to intercept, her security team falling in behind her. They were trained fighters, Anari warriors who drilled for exactly this scenario. The humans would be smaller, weaker, easier to overpower once the initial shock wore off. The first human through the breach moved like liquid. Zira fired and missed as he twisted sideways, used her teammate's body as a pivot point, and dropped 2 soldiers with strikes to nerve clusters she didn't know humans could identify. More poured through, not a chaotic rush but a coordinated insertion that split her team and cut off their retreat routes. They fought like they'd studied Anari combat doctrine for years, redirecting strength, exploiting overconfidence, turning every advantage into a disadvantage. Thomas appeared behind her defensive line. Behind, Zira spun, ears flat against her skull in shock. The corridors didn't connect that way. He shouldn't be there. "Maintenance ducts," Thomas said, reading her expression. "You've got 17 of them on this deck alone, all connected. Your people ignore them because you're too big to use them comfortably. We're not. He tilted his head. Your heart rate just spiked. You're starting to understand. Zira fired. Thomas was already moving, using the corridor corner for cover. Two more humans flanked from the maintenance ducts she'd never considered a threat. Her team fell back toward engineering, losing people with every step, and Zira realized with cold horror that nothing about Thomas had been real. The broken ship, the shaking hands, the nervous traitor, all theater. They weren't victims. They were bait, and Pale Meridian had swallowed it whole. Pinned in engineering with 8 survivors, Zira accessed the ship's database while her remaining soldiers held the barricaded door. She searched for anything about human pirates, human tactics, human anything that would explain what was happening. The official reports were useless. Humanity was a minor species, recently spacefaring, no significant military presence. But buried in the dismissed incident files, Zira found fragments. An Orathi cargo vessel that vanished near human space, last transmission mentioning friendly traders who offered navigational assistance. A Krell warship damaged in an ambush that anticipated our every defensive pattern. A Vexian survey team found dead, their ship stripped, with no evidence of how the attackers breached their supposedly impenetrable security. One report made her ears pin flat against her skull. A Krell captain's testimony: they learn faster than we can adjust. Every tactic we employed, they countered within minutes. It's like fighting your own shadow. It knows your moves before you make them because it studied how you stand, how you breathe, how you think. Zira played back her memory of Thomas on the bridge, not shaking from fear. Shaking because he was mapping muscle tension patterns, threat responses, command hierarchy. While her crew saw anxiety, Thomas was running analysis. Who deferred to whom, where eyes tracked during emergencies, which verbal cues triggered action. He'd built psychological profiles of every senior officer before the ambush even began. The database had a fragment from a xenoanthropology study she'd never read. Humanity evolved as persistence hunters and pattern recognition specialists. They survived not by being strongest, but by outlasting and outsmarting every predator on their world. They are adaptation personified. An explosion rocked